In this video, I'm going to be calling out PC Danny Gardner, potentially DC Danny Gardner. Now, PC Danny Gardner was the officer in charge. This is going back to about 2015, and to set the scene slightly, PC Danny Gardner was the officer involved in an incident where Paul Turner had threatened to kill my wife and children. It was recorded, it was witnessed by several people. It was reported to the police, and DC or PC Danny Gardner dealt with the case. Now, what he did was he went and interviewed Paul Turner, and for one reason or another, he wasn't charged for the threats to kill, albeit they were to threaten to kill my wife and children in such a way that would leave me mentally tortured for the rest of my life. Nice. But what DC Danny Gardner did do, he gave Paul Turner a harassment warning. Paul Turner accepted what he did and he signed the harassment warning. So what I'm calling Danny Gardner out on is the fact that Paul Turner is or was a police informant, and at the time, and still, I allege that Lancashire police have allowed or did allow Paul Turner to pursue crimes against me or turned a blind eye to crimes against me, as Paul Turner was providing them with evidence. They allowed Paul Turner to pursue a course of conduct, to commit crimes against me, because Paul Turner was providing them with evidence that they had already told me was juicy intel. So anyway, Danny Gardner had gone to see Paul Turner, and during that he had a detailed conversation with Paul Turner. So Danny Gardner called me back to let me know that he had interviewed Paul Turner and that he had spoken to him, and he told me some things on the phone, which obviously I knew. Paul Turner was a police informant, but obviously my word means nothing. But Danny Gardner told me on the phone that Paul Turner was a police informant, and I will play that recording in a few seconds. What Danny Gardner said was that Paul Turner was concerned, I think with the words, about the police informant business. He also referred to the fact that I was the only one, or one of only a few people that knew that Paul Turner was a police informant, and he was concerned because of the people he hangs around with, obviously not wanting them to know he's a police informant. So if you have a listen to the conversation with Danny Gardner from back in 2015, there's two segments of the clip, so I'll play them both, one after the other, and then I'll come back to you.
What I'd do, as I say, I wouldn't bother emailing them. I'd send a recorded delivery letter, but when it would be the next week or so, and then just break down why you used the money. Obviously, where the very sort of not personal things like that. Just this is what you owe, and this is why, and appreciate me having to pay it back by or whatever. And then he said he'll pay it back. So he's got no dispute. His main concern now is just about the police informant business, because he's obviously it's put him in a bit of a sensitive position, hasn't it, where he's nervous that he might get exposed, and because of the associates he hangs around with, which it's understandable, I suppose, where you can put a comment on there or send them a comment and you leave your details. Someone's put sort of no details on there but said a member of your gym is a police informant, be careful, and not named any names. It's obviously made him feel very uncomfortable, say.
Yeah, it's nothing to do with us, but I mean, you reap what you sow, I suppose, don't you? He shouldn't be telling people that he's a police informant. He's told me, he's told others. He can't start pinning stuff like that on me. It would almost sound like he's...
Well, you saying that there's only or only a very low number of people know, you say there's a number of people know.
So that was back in 2015, and this audio was posted on the internet so that people could see the way Lancashire police officers knew that Paul Turner was a police informant, but in any event it didn't get me anywhere with the fact that he was allowed to pursue course of conduct and attack me, create malicious websites about me, things like this. But just to show how the police are and how they intentionally lie, I spoke with Danny Gardner about 4 years after that regarding another incident, and on that phone call, speaking to Danny Gardner, I put it to him. I asked him about the incident from before, and I asked him the following question, which you'll hear on the audio recorded.
Can you just tell me one thing? Did Paul Turner tell you he was a police informer?
I don't believe he did, no.
You don't believe he told you that?
No.
So that recorded phone call where you said Paul Turner said he was scared of his being a police informer, you think he was lying, or you didn't hear that? Are you denying that happened?
I'm not getting into a conversation
Why?
4 years
Why?
ago.
Danny, it's you've heard the recording because I know I can see the police access to the page. Just tell me about
Okay.
that conversation.
I'm not going to
If you
go
don't
into a
answer it,
conversation
Danny-
I had 4.5 years ago.
Okay, Danny, I'm going to post this part of this conversation on the internet where you're now denying this. Are you okay with that?
Paul, I'll give you a call back this afternoon,
You're
okay?
denying what Paul Turner said after saying it yourself.
You're asking me
you
about a
realise how-
conversation that was 4.5 years ago. I'll give you a call this afternoon, okay,
But
Paul?
you're saying with clarity that you don't think he was a police informant. So you're now saying with clarity you don't think he was. You've also said you've got nothing
I
to do
wouldn't
with police
know.
informant.
I wouldn't know. It's not something I'd get access to. So I'll
But
give you a call this afternoon,
he
okay?
did say to you that he was a police informant, didn't he?
I don't recall he did.
You don't, even after listening to the recorded message.
Listen, okay, I'll
So
give
were
you
you
a call
lying
this
to me?
afternoon,
Were
Paul.
you
We're
lying?
going round in circles, Paul.
We're
I'll
not,
give you a call this
Danny.
afternoon.
We're getting
All
towards
right.
the truth and you don't like
Okay.
the truth.
I'll give you a call
Did
this
he tell you
afternoon.
that?
Thanks a lot, Paul. Bye.
I asked Danny Gardner if Paul Turner told him he was a police informant. Danny Gardner completely and outright lied and denied even knowing anything about it. He referred to the fact that how could I be expected to know about this after 4 years, even though this audio recording has floated around the internet for 5 or 6 years and the police are well aware of the audio clip being out there. And Danny Gardner clearly was. Danny Gardner has clearly said he has no recollection whatsoever of either speaking to Paul Turner or him telling him he was a police informant. Now that strikes me as somebody's lying, but in fairness to Danny Gardner, I would imagine that he's had strict instructions from his supervisors to deny everything. Now that's basically instruction from his supervisors to lie point blank to protect a police informant who's committed crimes. So I don't care that Paul Turner is or was a police informant. That's his own choice. If he wants to get involved in that sort of stuff, that's entirely up to him. But don't drag me into this shit. I don't want anything to do with it. And I certainly don't want a police informant to be threatening me or my family. And I certainly don't expect Lancashire Police to protect a police informant who's threatened me or my family. So have a listen to the two clips again. Danny Gardner first telling me how Paul Turner is worried about being a police informant and being involved in other people. And then have a listen again how 4 years later Danny Gardner suddenly forgets.
His main concern now is just about the police informant business, because he's obviously it's put him in a bit of a sensitive position, hasn't it, where he's nervous that he might get exposed because of the associates he hangs around with, which it's understandable, I suppose, Said a member of your gym is a police informant, be careful, and not named any names, it's obviously made him feel very uncomfortable, say. Well, he was saying that there's only you know, or only a very low number of people know, you see, there's a number of people know.
Can you just tell me one thing? Did Paul Turner tell you he was a police informer?
I don't believe he did, no.
You don't believe he told you that?
No. Just so I'll
But
give you a call this afternoon, okay?
He did say to you that he was a police informant, didn't he?
I don't recall he did.
You don't, even after listening to the recorded message?
Listen.
So what I'm doing on this video is I am calling out Danny Gardner and I'm asking for him or somebody on his behalf to come live on YouTube, maybe have a live recorded face-to-face with me and explain why DC Gardner has suddenly forgotten about the recording from 4 years ago. Because the recording did take place. So how does a police officer forget when it's such a significant event? It's been around the internet and he knows quite well it's been to my detriment for so many years. So this video is to call out Danny Gardner. I want him to speak openly and honestly about the two recordings and why he suddenly changed his tune. Who told him to? Which officer told him to lie? Does Danny Gardner want to lie? Is that his choice to lie? Tell us why. So if you like this video, please click on the like button, please subscribe to the channel, and if you want to be the first to be notified of any new videos, click on the bell and that will automatically notify you when I release any more videos.